Greensburg, Kansas. A small town tucked within the American Great Plains, surrounded by vast fields of corn and wheat. A massive tornado blew through this tiny town in 2007 and left it destroyed. This disaster left the community with a hefty challenge to overcome: rebuilding. Join me as we watch this town learn to live up to its name. Putting the Green into Greensburg. Narrated by Lauren Jones. Given that Greensburg is literally in the middle of nowhere, the town's only claim to fame was being home to the world's largest hand-dug well.
The signs just outside town say it's free, but here's the catch: you have to pay to get in.
Along with other touristy trinkets for visitors to gawk at. According to a case study done by L. Hewitt Sparks and S. Swearingen White, the economy of Greensburg actually relied pretty heavily on this attraction for tourist income at one point. In my personal opinion, this tourist attraction seems to be a place you'd follow a billboard to on a whim during a long road trip. So, these tourists are most likely not returning visitors, making this well's economic benefit kinda limited. Sparks and White also mentioned in the study how the town is facing economic stress in general. A 30% population decrease over 4 decades, an aging population of only 1,400 people, job instability within the community, and the added blow of a global recession in 2007 all point towards a concerning decline in the overall state of this town.
I think that tornado sirens are being tested.
Let's hope it's only a test.
Yeah.
But little did this community know, the state of their lives were about to face hardships that no one could ever expect or imagine.
Let's go back to Lanny Dean. Lanny, we're now live on the entire Cakeland television network. Tell us what you see.
Jay, currently right now, just to let you know my position, I am on 160 highway headed west, and I do have a very large funnel at this time, Jay. Back towards the area of, okay, tornado on the ground, Jay. Tornado on the ground, definite tornado on the ground.
You really should think about heading down to your shelters. Keep an eye on this thunderstorm as it approaches you. Now, the rain and hail will reach you first, so keep in mind, as far as looking through the thunderstorm and seeing the tornado, if you're in Greensburg, you're not going to, because it's going to be obscured by the very heavy rain and also the hail between you and that circulation. Reporting a very large tornado on the ground. This is about 12 miles southwest of Greensburg, and it is heading towards Greensburg.
Jay, it's Lanny. I've got a monster wedge tornado. I'm about 4 to 5 miles south of Greensburg. The tornado has crossed Highway 183. Definitely, it's to my northeast. Jay, this tornado is a very big tornado. At least 3/4 of a mile wide tornado on the ground right now.
In the middle of the night on May 4th, 2007, a record-breaking tornado tore through Greensburg. This disaster stretched 1.5 miles wide with wind speeds of 200 miles per hour, according to Sparks and White's study. Residents were left injured and afraid throughout the whole night.
It's like it wouldn't stop. I could hear this roar and just huge sounds and glass flying, brick flying. My grandson's screaming, my kids are screaming, my husband's screaming, my son-in-law's screaming, and we're like we're being buried alive.
Yeah.
Thing was, we were trying to walk to find shelter. All we seen was dark, trash, debris, glass. You couldn't know where to walk. You didn't know what to do.
When the daylight rose and the storm had passed, the damage and loss it left behind was astounding.
We have complete destruction. Well, here's somebody's tornado shelter. That's about the only safe place to be for this tornado EF5. You can see this is what it looks like above.
Sparks and White state that over 90% of this small town was leveled from this tornado.
Here we have a license plate embedded into a tree. Kansas plates.
The city hall, school, hospital, and almost every home was left in shambles.
Well, this is the gymnasium of the high school and elementary school.
Sparks and White state that 11 residents died from this tragedy. The leveling of this whole community caught the eyes of the nation.
Our hearts are heavy for the a loss of life in Greensburg, Kansas. I declared a major disaster for that community, and I hope that helps. It's going to take a long time for the community to recover, and so we'll help in any way we can.
And thanks to that awareness, Greensburg could receive some assistance for rebuilding. Somehow, some way, this community wanted to rebuild into something different, something green. The mayor behind this transformation illustrates how exactly this was accomplished.
The concept of going green started the night after the tornado, when representatives from the governor's office, our local elected officials, FEMA was in town already, and the discussion started back, hey, you're going to have to rebuild the whole town. Let's make sure we do it in a right, prudent, and responsible manner.
And they did exactly that. The plans for this sustainable city were drawn up and boots were put onto the ground as soon as possible. Many researchers like White and Sparks looked into this planning process to analyze what made all of this work here exactly. And they found that the most important aspect was involving the community in every single step that they took. Construction began soon after all funds and ambitious goals were in order, and once they were approved by the very people they were rebuilding for. All town buildings were all constructed to LEED Platinum standards, which is the highest environmental code that a structure could fulfill. Solar panels and other outstanding green technologies were implemented into almost every single building. Most homes were also rebuilt sustainably. And the school, hospital, and other recreation buildings are now seen as a gold standard for sustainability within the society. The whole town is also powered by a wind turbine farm, allowing Greensburg residents' energy use to be self-reliant, free from carbon emissions, and dependable for decades. This town can finally go back to the lives that they had before the tornado, except this time, it will be in a safer, sustainable community. This story shows us what a unified community and a genuine care for the future can accomplish. Greensburg truly defied all odds in making this dream a reality. With the economic struggles of the town pre-tornado, many early reports suggested that the town would not be able to rebuild at all. Many predicted these residents would reject sustainability as a whole, since that's the trend in rural, typically conservative areas. No one could have expected that such a small town could have such progressive goals for themselves, and its payoff has been immense. This town is doing better than ever on all fronts. I will say, seeing Greensburg today, it sure seems like we aren't in Kansas anymore. L. Hewitt Sparks and S. Swearingen White concluded in their Greensburg case study that, quote, "It would appear that small cities have the capacity to be innovative and successful with respect to sustainability, provided the local commitment is present," unquote. Now, these residents and future generations will have a hometown that they can thrive in for decades to come, and Greensburg finally lives up to its name. This tiny town's unexpected green ambition and commitment to their planet is an inspiring story for us all. We can all learn from them in some way. At the end of the day, it'll always be a good idea to put a little more green into your life, too.